welcome back to the Money, Mindset and Business podcast. If you have been listening here for a while, or if you are new, I would really appreciate it if you could give that subscribe button a click and rate the show on whatever platform it is that you're listening on. Thank you very much. Let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Money, Mindset and Business podcast. Today we have a special guest, Isabel. Isabel, tell us who you are and who you help and what you do.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yes, I'm Isabel. I'm a holistic mindset coach and energetics coach. So I help entrepreneurs who want to get out of their own way, let go of self-sabotage or let go of fears of showing up in the business, letting go of some beliefs that are stopping them, so they can create a business they feel fulfilled, happy, they feel excited about, instead of having to overwork or hustle all the time.
Awesome. Sounds incredible. So the first question that's popping into my mind is, from the people that you've helped so far, would you say there is an overwhelming similarity in what they're coming to you with in terms of what the blockages are that they've got?
I don't know if there are similarities, but I work a lot with therapists or healers. And not that it's particular to them, but I think many business owners have a lot of blocks or fears around being seen. So being seen, like showing up in their business, which could be like posting, could be doing Facebook lives or Instagram lives, telling about what they do, talking about their products, selling, all of those things. For many people, it's quite scary because you're showing up and you kind of have to overcome certain fears along the way.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that a lot with some of the people that I speak to around, because obviously I'm a money mindset coach, and there are a lot of people that I know that are scared to show up. And from my personal circumstances, from the people I've dealt with, a lot of it is to do with that fear of judgment from others. Would you agree that that's something that a fear that comes along with that fear of visibility?
Yes, there is a fear of just judgments, could be from others or you, us judging ourselves, fear of failure, what if doesn't go right, being criticized, not being accepted, all of that.
Yeah, it's a huge block though. It is a huge block for a lot of people, because you put yourself in a vulnerable position when you go out to the world and say, this is who I am and this is what I do. So I can understand why that's a fear. I mean, for me at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, it was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because you start this entrepreneurial journey, you're known for your employed role, as I was, and then to show up as somebody completely different, it's scary. But
yeah, and even in the, even if you started your business and you're doing something, there is along the way there is a time where maybe you feel like, well, it's time to change things around, and then the fear might show up again because, oh, people saw me doing this and now I'm changing things around again. What will they think of me? And all of that, all of those fears and judgments will probably pop up again.
yeah, totally. So obviously the podcast we're on is called Money, Mindset and Business. So I'd love to know your thoughts, works, ideas, experience with dealing with clients who have blocks around money.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you've experienced with the clients that you've got or had in the past?
Yeah. Oh, well, it can be so vast and different. It could be, money stories and blocks and limiting beliefs, show up in all stages, whether you are starting a business, where you are thinking of starting a business, whether you are further along the way, it shows up, I think, in all the stages. And I remember having a client who she's quite successful financially in her business. She's been doing this for a long time, and she was experiencing some fears and blocks around earning a certain amount more than she was earning. She knew she could reach the goal, but it's very interesting. The stories were around, do I deserve to receive that? Am I worthy of that? Because, and it was one of the things that was happening was she was remembering her parents, because they came from a different country, and they had to work really hard to build the wealth they had. And because she had things much easier, it was much easier for her. There was this block. Oh gosh, am I worthy of this? Earning so much when what I saw was struggle and working hard. So it's really, really interesting how the experiences that we had, or our parents, ancestors, can influence our experience right now, and the stories that we build around money and financing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I see that a lot with the people I kind of speak to. You know, it generally, a lot of it stems back from what they've seen growing up
Mm-hmm.
and what they've experienced, and then obviously the story that they've attached to that situation, which may or may not have been the situation, but as human beings, we attach stories to things, we attach emotions, we attach feelings, we attach thoughts, beliefs, values to everything that happens to us in our life, especially obviously within those first 7 years. So feel free to answer this, feel free to not answer this, but yourself as a business owner, do you think you have had any issues around money mindset that you've had to overcome yourself? And if so, how did you do it?
Yeah, of course. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't have to overcome stories around money. Whether you come from a very wealthy background or not, I think everyone has built their own stories around money. Were you asking me about my there are so many. So many. There is a big theme for me that I have to work a lot, because I come also from a different country, so I had to work a lot on my stories around money, about wealth, scarcity. I come from a background where I saw my parents working really hard to even to pay the bills, and we are from a big family of 10 children. So I am one of the youngest. So there were a lot of stories around the older brothers and sisters not having enough, and it was really a hard time. So I grew up with those stories. Around our time, like me and my youngest, life was easier, but still, when you hear those stories, they stay with you. And all of the conversations around money were, first of all, there weren't many conversations around money. And then when they were, all of the conversations were around, it's really hard to get money, you need to work really hard. And then associated with seeing my parents working hard, one of the themes that I had to work on, and still I have to work on, is it's really hard to receive money. I need to work really hard. So my default was to work really hard, hustle, hustle, hustle. And if I wasn't working, I wasn't deserving of money. So in the beginning of my journey as a solopreneur, I was working all the time. felt super uncomfortable when I wasn't working, and everybody went to bed, and I stayed. I don't know even what I was doing, just looking at numbers and posting. I don't know what I was doing. I was always working, and I felt really proud because I was working so many hours. Um, and then I had to go through a lot of stress and burnout to kind of realize, oh, whoops, maybe there is a better way. So yeah, I had to work on a lot of stories about, yeah, do I really need to work really hard? Do I need to suffer to receive money, to earn money? Does it have to be all very serious? Can I have fun, joy while doing my business? All of these things I had to work on.
Yeah. I mean, how did you work on it? What did you actually do? Did you use your own methods of healing, or did you work with somebody else to support you with your healing of it?
Yeah,
What did it look like in your world?
yeah, I did both. When I started alone. I didn't know anyone who was doing business. So then I decided to invest in a business program, which was actually really amazing because I had opportunity to be in the same room with lots of other entrepreneurs, and that gave me an idea what was going on with other people as well. They had similar struggles, and I've started to realize, well, I'm not alone, and it is something that is really common. Those fears, beliefs, and the same struggles. I also had a mindset coach in the same program, so I've started to work on my mindset, looking at the ego and how we work with ego, and doing a lot of work around that. And so that opened up to the, first of all, the mindset. I never heard of that before. Why do I need to look at my stories? Why do I need to look at my childhood? All of that. So I started to work on that. Then eventually, I ended up joining a program with that mindset coach, and ended up doing the certification with her and other entrepreneurs. So that helped me a lot. And then at the same time, I went to, so by that time I was a fitness instructor. So the business was in fitness. And then I decided, well, I want to become a yoga teacher, and I went to train as a yoga teacher. And I was introduced to the modality that I work, the energy healing. So I started to work with that. So then I started to combine the mindset coaching with the energy work, and that's when I had the biggest transformations, when I started to combine both. So yeah.
That's amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to share on your part of the story?
No, there is so many little parts. Yeah, I think the most the breakthrough was when I realized that I wasn't alone. Is realizing that, because I think if you are a soulpreneur, and it's very easy to feel like you are alone and you are in your own bubble, and I think we are so hard on ourselves, and we judge ourselves. So I think that the one of the biggest breakthroughs was to realize that actually there's more people going through this, so we're all doing the same work. So let's just be curious and start to kind of dig into what is really going on. Why do I have these fears? What is this happening to me? Why do I keep repeating the same cycles? So that was the beginning of the whole journey that never ends, by the way. it still continues.
Yeah, I think I was just about to add on the end, and the fact that I think there's a common misconception that when you engage with a coach for a specific issue, that once you've finished with the coach, the issue's going to be gone.
Mm.
And both you and I know that that's not actually true. The issues that we have with the stories we tell ourselves have multiple layers. So we peel back a layer and we go, oh, okay, I've dealt with that. And then boom, it shows up again somewhere else in your life, the same kind of theme. And then we have to deal with it again, release it, and then boom, it shows up again. So it's a continual journey. Especially I think with money mindset. Specifically right now, when all you hear on the news is cost of living crisis, and that in itself is fear mongering. And that's going to be starting to kind of interrogate that that fear inside yourself that you're not good enough and you can't do it, and there's only me suffering like this. Why is it? Why me? Why me? And all this sort of stuff. So thank you for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. So let's get back into you and your business. So if I was to come to ask you, what's your ideal client and how do you help them? What do they come to you with? What would your answer be?
I like to work with soulpreneurs or spiritualpreneurs, people who are that are a little bit more open to possibly something bigger, not just the business strategies. And I like to work with them because I integrate. So my approach is holistic. So I integrate different parts. We can talk about strategy. We can talk about mindset. We can talk about what's going on in your life. How is it affecting your business? Talking about your spiritual rituals and how can that enhance your business. So it's a holistic approach in that sense. And how I help them is to mostly help them to overcome the fear of being seen, of showing up and sharing their message.
Yeah.
And especially around healers, therapists, there is sometimes a lot of fear of speaking your truth and sharing your points of view and what you believe in. So I'm really passionate about that.
So what are the points of view that you share about yourself? Because if you're supporting these solopreneurs, these therapists, healers, with sharing their points of view out into the world, I'd love to know what your points of view are that may be deemed possibly could be judged, because obviously that's what you're helping people to go, this is my point of view and I don't really care what you think, but this is how I think. So what points have you got, Isabel, that our listeners would love to hear?
The reason I'm passionate about this is because I also experienced the fear of talking about certain things or the uncertainty, how is it going to go. For example, when I moved from fitness to mindsets, or when I moved from fitness to talking about yoga, spiritual practices. So like we talked before, the fear of how are going people to perceive this, what I'm saying, what will other people think about now me wanting to change my career and the things that I'm doing. So I also experienced that. So how is it going to go now? I'm talking about this and now I'm talking about that. Yoga, meditation, and all of that. And not only that was my experience, but because I work with other entrepreneurs and I work a lot with healers, I know this is also a common theme. It's a lot around spirituality and sharing your truth sharing about healing modalities. And I don't know if you experienced that as well. So that is the thing that I had to work on. So how will I be perceived? What will people think? And I think that all also comes from my background. And I come from a very strict Catholic family. And you know, I've heard other people that come from a religious background all also sharing similar stories. And I know everybody has their own story. This is my story. And you know, the fears of showing up and talking about what is true to you, what makes sense, what feels aligned, you know, those fears, of course, are related to what you have experienced while growing up. So that is my experience, and I know experience of many other soulpreneurs or spiritualpreneurs.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. I mean, I was brought up Catholic myself, and thinking differently is frowned upon. So, I mean, we've not been practicing Catholicism for about 20 years now. Me or anybody else in my family, but my nan, before she passed, she was still getting communion once a week, come around the house to give a Holy Communion once a week. She was devout Catholic, but she passed away before I started this entrepreneurial journey. And I know for a fact she would have frowned upon what I'm saying online about spirituality and the source and connection to self and the earth and all this sort of stuff. I get it. I get that completely. So how did you kind of support yourself to step into who you are as Isabel today? How did you support yourself on that journey?
Well, I continue to do my inner work to do the work that I've done so far. I keep doing it on a daily basis. And also a big part of that is connecting with other people who are doing the same. And I think that is so important, is seeing other people doing the same, kind of being a role model to you. So you know, and you're telling yourself and your subconscious that it's possible, and you can also have that and experience that. So I think there are the two main things. One is keep unblocking and doing the inner work and transforming your beliefs, rewiring, and the other one is looking for examples of people who are doing exactly what you want to do, and so that you feel like, okay, it's possible, and I can also do that. Those are my two main ones.
You know what? That's wonderful. Because that completely aligns with my personal experience with it all. I have daily practices that keep me in self. So the inner matches the outer, basically. And I am in groups of people that are on the same journey, and I have a guide who turns round and tells me when I'm not being who I say I am. Is that really aligned, Leah? She says, is that really aligned? And I love it.
Yeah, that is so helpful to have someone from the outside who can point out, but kind of guiding you more to, ooh, have you thought about this? Have you seen this? Oh, I'm observing this. What do you think? It's so helpful.
I think it is, because even though we ourselves are mindset coaches, healers, therapists, whatever it is you want to call it, we still are able to get blocked in ourselves, and we can't see what we may or may not be doing to ourselves. So to have that external person who is essentially watching you and wants you to succeed says, are you sure?
Mm-mm.
Are you sure with what you're doing right there? Is that aligned with who you are, the mission you're on, what you're trying to achieve? Is that true service to the world and those around you and yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah. And you know, it's not because we are healers or mindset coaches or that we we are not perfect. We always have things to work on, and to there's so much space to grow and expand. It's um it's a journey of exploration until the end. So, thinking that, well, I'm done, my work is done, and I'm good, probably won't help much the clients and the people.
No, work is never done. And I think one of the powerful things that any coaches or therapists or healers can have is the thought that they're happy to be wrong sometimes, because being wrong means that you've got an area of growth.
Yeah.
Because you can't and you won't always be right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience today about who you are, what you do, how you help them? Anything that they can start doing based upon the work that you do with other people in their own lives to kind of enrich their own lives?
Yeah. There was something that you mentioned before when we were talking about religion, and you said you're mentioning that your grandmother was not here, and I relate because my father is not here anymore as well. And one thing that I remembered, and I think it's important to mention, is that sometimes we think that we can think that because we moved away from a situation, or we moved away from certain people, that is not doesn't have an impact. So, for example, when I moved away from Portugal to England, I thought many things were left like behind. But then I realized, especially when I started my business, that actually certain things that I lived, my experiences, were influencing me right now. So this is one thing that I wanted to say, that, and I've seen when I work with other people, is our past experiences. Even if we moved away, moved countries, we don't see the same people anymore. There is an influence, ancestral influence as well, and even past lives that that we also experience in this life. So sometimes it happened to me, and I've seen it happening with other people as well. Do you feeling that there's something holding you back, but doesn't quite feel like from this lifetime, or it doesn't feel like it's yours? And it's okay, because sometimes it can be from your parents, your ancestors. And I just wanted to put this out there, so people don't feel like, what am I doing wrong? I'm not doing the work. No, sometimes it's not even yours. It's just something that was passed on to you, and it's important to have that awareness as well. So because when we have that awareness, then we can start to disconnect from that ancestral belief, or that influence that it still has on us. So that is one thing that I wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that, because one of the modalities that I use is timeline therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And now, having had it done on myself, we obviously go through the 5 negative emotions to release them. And after the first release, it was all in my lifetime. The second release, when I did it a couple of months later, it was ancestral. It was based upon my mum's mum's mum. There was anger there from then. And what you've just said there is so true, because it grows with us through the genes, through the genealogy of our ancestors, and they've had something happen to them that's triggered this huge negative emotion, and that has created story in everybody's minds throughout the years. And I had that feeling that you just explained, that there was something there, and I didn't feel like it was my issue. And because I was struggling to connect with it outside of the visualization space when I was in the timeline therapy chair and in that modality, that I was like, I can't see where it is and where it's from and what it responds to, and where, and then going through the process, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's so fascinating, honestly. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't yet experienced a past life when I've been going through the process, but I'm sure something will come up at some point. So that was really helpful and really useful. So coming up to the end, so is there anything else you would like to share with the audience today about what's coming up in your world in 2024?
Yeah, I would love to. I'm working I'm working on a program that I've launched, so I will launch again in 2024, called Unlock Your Money and Abundance Code, where I'll guide you through money stories, how to clear old beliefs that are not helping you, and how to download and create new beliefs that are more empowering around money and abundance. That is what's coming up, mostly for the beginning of 2024.
That sounds exciting. Exciting. Awesome. So anything that's coming up with Isabel in 2024 will be in the show notes for you to follow along and see what she's all about. Anything else before we go, Isabel?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me, having me here, and I think it's such an important conversation. Money mindset.
Are you ready to become a wealth warrior in 2024? If so, come and follow me on Instagram at I am Leah Crowfoot, where you can find out more about how you can become a wealth warrior through your own money mindset transformation.